Whoa.
Whoa.
Welcome back to our channel.
I see that you have time traveled to this episode. Welcome back.
We
This is episode.
time.
What episode is it, Lujack?
38.
It is 38. I'm Taylor. This is my friend Lujack.
I'm
It's
Lujack.
spelled with a C. We don't spell it a lot.
Yeah,
a
it's
lot of
with a
people
C.
I know spell it with a K for some reason. but
Everyone always tries to spell it with a K, but that's not as bad as this one person who spelled it with 2 O's and a K, and I'm like,
That's just inelegant.
that's just like, you did that on purpose.
At that point, they should just be like LeauxJaque. It's French, right? It means I don't know, something that you track your car with.
It's a car tracker. It's a French car tracker.
Dude, that could be a French name, Lujac.
Luja.
Yeah, no, it's hyphenated.
Yeah.
I can see that. So
dude,
hey everyone, I am so glad you could join us this lovely evening.
I am
'cause,
too. You.
it was super cold this evening.
I was wearing my face mask all day when I was at work.
I had I had 2 scarves on. I had one like on my helmety bit to cover my sort of ears and keep most of the wind out of my direct line of sight, and then the scarf around my neck. Basically, the clasp snapped off on the polar vortex, and we got a really long winter, like a very it's weird.
Yeah.
So,
going back to my name for a minute, another one that people would always say, not a matter of spelling, but with like speaking it, people would always say Bluejack because I was never great at pronouncing my name, so people always thought I was saying Bluejack. I remember this one
no,
girl.
it's Balujack.
But it's Baloo.
It's his name. It's his bare necessity.
But excuse me, my name is Baloo Jack.
Excuse-
Okay.
I don't understand beer accent.
I was just watching the Game Grumps video where he was talking about the 2 girls. One was saying "but excuse me" and the other was saying "okay." Some story he was telling.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
but
it was like this lady walking into KFC or something, and she ordered like 2 family meals, and she was a large lady, and the person was like, "Is this for here or the go?" And the customer was like, "But excuse me, you think I can eat all this by myself?" And she was like, "The channel of your life."
That's a good point.
Uh,
I mean, if it's a large order, just be like, no. I would still say for her to go, because that's just protocol. You know?
Yeah. Anyway, there's your local nightly Game Grumps reference. I was gonna say,
this is just a bingo card, all right? Bro, we should make a bingo card for this
for all the
episode.
references we do.
Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to have 25 different like things to check off. Usually it's like a 5x5.
Yeah, I'd be down with that. We would have to. It would be like Game Grumps and World Doctors, obviously.
Yeah,
You
the
get
Game
your
Grumps,
system
World Doctor, System Mastery.
Yeah, you got your system mastery. Anything comic book related.
Anything comic book related, anime.
Talk about other games we've been playing.
Talking about other game. You know what bit we haven't done in a while? The mashup game. Where we take the game we're playing and try to pitch it as a combo of this game and some other game.
Oh, I was just thinking of something like that.
And the thing is, if it works well, then you can get all like excited and be like, "Oh, that'd be really cool." And if it doesn't work well, you just sort of keep pitching it until it works.
Yeah.
You know, like Ace Attorney Farm Simulator 19.
Okay, I actually do have an idea, although it's kind of cheating because they're both id Software games. But I was thinking Doom and Wolfenstein. Which you could pretty much just headcanon that they take place in the same universe.
It'd be a Bethesda game, of course.
Yeah. Well, okay. This one's not quite as big a stretch. There's one. So there's an iteration of Doom guy that's actually like legitimately descended from B.J. Blazkowicz. It's not in any of like the official Doom games, I don't think. I think it was in like some other game that he was like referenced in.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
His last name was actually Blazkowicz. He had an actual name. But my idea is, as much as I love the idea,
it's D.G. Blazkowicz.
DJ.
Stands for Doom guy.
Right, but that I love the idea. As much as I love the idea of Doom Guy being a descendant of BJ, What if he actually like was BJ? Like what if
Doomguy isn't Doomguy like reincarnated?
Well, I mean that was a theory, I think.
But
I don't
also,
think that's a canon.
You could still mix it that way, though. You could have a Wolfenstein situation where BJ is like, oh wait a minute, I fell into a hell portal and I fought my way out of hell and I won this this item thing that that reincarnates me or something.
Yeah.
Like there you go.
Now I'm a Doom guy.
Now I'm some kind of what am I? Some kind of Doom guy?
Oh, but dude,
some kind of Doom Patrol.
If I would, you know, what's a line that I would love to hear, and like something like Archer or something, like sort of an Archer-esque TV show. I would love it if there was a situation where like they were fighting demons, and another where they were fighting zombies, and the zombies one was first, and they were like, "What am I, BJ Blazkowicz?" And the person just looks at them all confused, and he's like, "From Wolfenstein." It's software, and he gets like increasingly infuriated that he
oh my gosh, he missed The Hobbit.
Because they're not a gamer.
What's dumb and funny about their whole like Hobbit thing is that I'm pretty sure that episode came out when the Hobbit movie was like still fresh in everyone's mind. So like culturally speaking, The Hobbit was like a new hotness where like it was in the public like mindset.
Yeah.
Whereas like just a year before that, if you're like, oh yeah, he's kind of like blah in The Hobbit, they'd be like, the what? Yeah, it's Smaug in The Hobbit. Yeah, everyone's. And they specifically say that they reference that it's a book, not referencing the movie. So in their universe, just The Hobbit was very well read by people in their age bracket.
Yeah. I was gonna say something earlier. Going back to my name thing, I remember this one lady. She was an African Muslim lady that we had as a classmate in high school. Mm-hmm. If you remember who I'm talking about, she had like just the best accent, and she called me Blue Jack all the time. But I loved the way she said it, so I never bothered to correct her because her accent was awesome, and she would get like all excited every time we saw each other. But like we weren't close friends. But we were friendly enough that every time we passed by each other, she'd go, Blue Jack! And I'd, like, yell her name back at her at the same time. And that was the relationship.
Whose name escapes me currently.
What's that?
Whose name escapes me at the moment.
I remember what it is, but...
oh, just don't say it.
Yeah,
that's fine. So, let's hit the button when we last left off. We were in quite a conundrum. For one thing...
For one thing, this isn't how law works.
Oh, we were what is it? In the middle of the cross-examination, I believe.
Yeah.
Or the cross-examination.
Cross-examining.
Von Karma was just commanding everyone in the room.
And he has such a creepy voice. Objection.
I was like, but that's just... Oh. I was like, but my problem was that he sounded too much like the judge.
Oh, no.
I was doing the voice. But yeah. He just sounds like Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. He's just like, objection. Yeah, he's like, I don't know. It's... But I was having trouble coming up with a voice for him that wasn't too similar to the judge because he and the judge have very overlapping
I
lines.
would like to give him a gravelly voice, but since Taylor's voicing him, he can't do that because
I can try. I can add a little gravel.
Can you make him sound like the Candies are?
No. that voice lasts even shorter than a gravelly voice. My neck gets tired.
We've told that story, right?
Christmas Eve. After midnight, they reckon.
Yeah,
my neck.
Yeah, we've told that story, right?
Yes, I tried doing an illustration of him, and he's just got like a big what's the word? Like Vlad the Impaler, like just like a pickle mustache.
Yeah.
And he's got like a big cozy Russian hat. But it's got like a button on it instead of like a star or something. It's a little circle with a little stick, so it's a candy cane. And his neck is like 2 feet long and very expressive. He expresses himself with his neck.
He expresses himself through
I stuck my neck out for you. Dear Mr. Drake, I see that you have picked up my artifact from Moscow. I would like it back.
I hope this letter finds you well. I'm writing all the way from Russia.
As you can tell by my tone of writing, I have had a neck injury recently. Okay, now he's just turning like half Italian. I don't know what accent I'm doing, but...
Bippity boppity boopity.
Don't say that. But
is that racist? Is that?
It's a little weird. Don't. Yeah. But yeah, it's that's the thing is that the candies went from an accent to just its own weird abstract thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's.
Well, because it started out with you trying to do the mayor from Townsville voice.
Yeah, it was like, oh goodness, there's some cookies and
it's
pickles.
A fine day
I'm
for
going to
mayoring.
combine them. And then I just turned a little bit into Nigel Thornbury. But then it's like, oh yeah, but this letter is from Moscow, so it's gotta sound like a little Russian. And it's like, okay, I'll do my best Russian accent, however bad it might be.
Well, before that, you were like, well, the thing, because like you were trying to do the mayor of Townsville, but you couldn't, so you wound up slipping into like a King Candy voice.
Yeah,
instead.
the King Candy voice.
Yeah, and then we found the Russian letter, and I was like, dude, can you give King Candy an accent?
Oh no. So the chaos
and then
began.
Your neck just started violently whipping around as you spoke.
I was working in my lab late one night.
I hope this letter reaches you.
A what?
I
was trying to do the Monster Mash, but I don't remember the rest of the lines. So
he did the mash.
They did the Monster Mash.
He did the mash.
I thought you said bash instead of mash. I was like, that's not how the...
He bashed him with a baseball bat.
Monster Mash.
It was the box ghost. He came out and bashed him with the box, and then he screamed, beware, and then he ran away. Then he got super buff and married some female ghost. I can't remember which one, but like...
I believe... Was it Ember?
Was it Ember? I don't remember Ember.
Hmm.
It was when they had to deal with this evil version from the future.
Ah.
Sorry to any Italian people, by the way, if that bippity thing was offensive. I don't...
And I'm sorry to everyone in the... Basically everyone in the entire range of Eastern Europe to Asia, because... I know my accent isn't very good. So...
I like to apologize to everyone twice, one for each ear.
Like an apology, one for each ear that had to hear that.
You come over to a dude with like one working ear, and you're like, "Oh, I guess only one for you." I'm sorry for your loss.
I apologize twice on principle.
I apologize twice, once for what you had to suffer through, and again for your missing ear.
And one for your...
Wow.
And one congratulations on your cybernetic ear.
Ha! Yeah, transhumanism. Buddy!
That's Buddy, and maybe he'll say hi.
Buddy the kid. You want to say hi to the mic?
Say
he doesn't
hello.
really talk that much. Hey, you want to say hi?
He like barely meowed the other night.
He's like, no, I just want to be a kitten and run around.
What's that coat pattern? With it's like dappled on the side and striped on the tail.
Yeah, I don't know, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
Don't know what breed he is.
I keep forgetting that cats have breeds and aren't just like randomly generated.
Yeah, the only breed we know is Torty. We don't. That's the only. Well, Torty and Calico.
And Tabby, I guess.
Who?
I don't know if Tabby is a breed or a sub-breed.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's hit that button.
Aren't there like brindle tabbies?
I don't know.
Brindle tabbies.
The crimes of brindle tabbies.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
you.
hit that button, or not hit the button, hit the scroll.
Oh yeah, we already...
It
was Christmas Eve just after midnight, I reckon. I was in my car, I heard this BANG come up from the lake. When I looked out the window, I saw two giant boats, and there was another thing. There wasn't near a thing on the lake but that boat. There weren't any contradictions in there.
Well, we've got the Okay, where we left, I remember now, when we left off last time, I was saying we had one good hook.
I was just reading a line. He said there are no contradictions in there. That was what Phoenix was saying.
Yes, but it reminded me precisely where we left off. Where?
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were responding to me or...
But, yes and. I learned that, I remember that the pistol was missing 3 shots.
3 shots.
So, or it says that it's been fired thrice, 3 times. So, we at least have that, where when we press them on that, we may be able to present it.
Yeah. Read your line, though.
Oh, right. Sorry, Nick. If only my sister were here.
Yeah, if only. Maya's really taking this hard. Maya, it's not your fault.
After, like, some dialogue, it cuts to when it normally cuts to Maya, but the seat's, like, empty. And, like, Maya, and then it just cuts to the next, the waiting room thing, and she's, like, meditating. She's like, I'm concentrating.
I am trying so hard.
I accidentally summoned a stand instead. What would Maya's stand be called? Numa Numa.
Numa Numa. Let's see here. Fired 3 times. Present! This evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor.
Did it not?
Yeah, that's your line.
Oh. How exactly are that evidence and the statement just now related?
They aren't, are they? Well, yes they are!
What did you present?
I presented the gun being fired 3 times.
I looked down for a moment, so I missed
it. Not at all. That's still your line.
Why does it explode?
I don't know! Because
it didn't do that before, did it?
I don't know.
I don't think it did.
I don't know.
I would have remembered.
It's anime.
No, but as in before, it was like... But like, this time it explodes. Yeah. Sorry to shoot you down there, buddo.
Read your line.
Mr. Wright, please think over the facts before making accusations.
I don't think that won me any points with the judge. Yeah, well, fuck the judge. She's incompetent.
Alright, so then there was another bang. Press them on the other bang. Have we done that?
Yeah, let's press it. Hold it. We watched at the very moment the shot rang out.
Well, yeah, sure. See? All those at home will hear that. You're asking meaningless questions. Meaningless.
I think you're meaningless.
Contradictions, Mr. Wright. Not meaningless babble.
Von Karma, I think I hate you. I know I hate him. He's trying to keep me from talking to the witness. To the, to what end?
Some kind of prosecution end.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's pretty obvious.
It's good that, like, when we're cross-examining, it's just like a list of the things that they've said. Yeah. Because if you were, like, re-examining every time and they had to, like, start it from memory, it would get a little chaotic.
Yeah, right. I guess let's just press everything, because I don't know what else to do. Buddy's back. Just after midnight, you say? In other words, it was no longer Christmas Eve, but Christmas Day.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. Yeah, that does make sense. I know you want to find... I know you want to find contradictions, but really... See, I wanted to add gravel, but it's just a little too obviously it's classic bad guy, you know? It doesn't have suaveness.
Right.
I hope your next contradiction is a little more relevant to the trial. Witness, continue your testimony. I was in my car.
You were in your car?
I drove into a pothole.
You were driving to a pothole?
And I couldn't make a claim because potholes don't have insurance.
They don't have insurance?
Man. I remember when my teacher's aide was so amused by that commercial about the talking pothole, so that they had their message notification just go, I'm a pothole, so...
I don't think I ever saw that commercial.
No?
No.
It was some kind of insurance commercial where someone drives into a pothole and their what's the word? Their tire just like splits. And I'm like, oh no, did I do that? Well, let me get my cellular out, call your record. Oh wait, I got no phone. Cause I'm a pothole. So, okay, bye. No. The notification sound was, I got no phone.
I got no phone.
Oh
man.
It was an amusing commercial.
I need to look that up now. I was in my car.
They did it with like a sort of rubbery road thing, so they could like puppet it around, I think.
Right.
I don't know if it was that or CG. It might have been a practical effect.
Why were you camping there anyway?
I'm a research student at my university.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry.
I got no phone. I was taking pictures using my research.
What research? This all sounds suspicious. Press further. Miss Hart. Could you be more specific about your research? Also, are you related to Kevin Hart?
What does the witness's motive in camping by the lake have anything to do with this case? Round 1.
Fight!
We are only in round 1 of this trial. I'm gonna hurt my voice. I gotta tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself, dude.
I do like the idea that this guy has become like an anomalous creature where he's actually all ruffles under the coat.
Yeah.
He's nothing but ruffles and like legal documents.
Yeah, a lot of ruffles. Wait, did you read that already?
Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is nothing. I object to this line of questioning.
I don't think that's...
Objections. Wait, now, I'm the one who says that. Well, then say it already. Objections sustained.
Thanks for nothing, Your Honor. Oh my god. I think I'm going mad.
I believe the chair is the only thing keeping you up, Your Honor, because you don't seem to have any backbone.
Roasted. Oh, just have that like looping gif of
what I'm saying is that the judge here doesn't seem to be any sort of chordate. Yeah, he's not in the same. What is it? He's not in the same. Not phylum. What is it? Chordata. It's not the same.
Record? I don't
it's
know
it's the line. It's the classification that defines things with what is it? Things with spines and not vertebrates and invertebrates.
Right.
I'm gonna have to look that up later.
I was gonna say backbone thing. Just have like the reaction to that be that gif of the guys who are like, oh, the guy in the hoodie, and there's the one dude that just like goes by.
Yeah, it's like Phoenix and Maya, and like Lotta is the one that passes in front of the camera.
Larry Butts is there somewhere.
This is why we need an editor. I would totally hire an editor. Well, I say I would totally hire an editor, but like I don't know how many hours it would take to edit this stuff, and I feel like I would get ahead of myself, where I'd either get like a little bit in and be like, yes, that's all I can afford, and then we'd have like part of an episode.
Yeah.
I'm not wealthy enough for that.
No.
But like, if we kept it simple, then yeah, we could probably do it.
Yeah. Heard this bang? Well, press that. Yo, if there are any editors out there that are looking for like super cheap work, like
Barry, edit yourself in.
Barry. Well, I'll give you like $60, or Taylor will give you $60.
We would negotiate it based on like the overall like hour time, and make sure you get something fair for it.
Man, I would like to take an animation class, or like some kind of editing class. I'd like to learn how to make things.
Oh, like like just video editing and stuff. That could be fun, especially. I feel like if I got a video editing class, I'd want to like I want to make a bunch of like dumb YouTube poops of like old shows.
Right. If I did like comic book reviews or like reviews of any sort, I would want it to be like in cartoon form with that like, you know, super basic sort of drawn
like
blobby figure, like Alice Myers or whatever.
Oh wait.
No, well, what were you gonna say?
Sorry, I was interrupting you, but then like I didn't know when you were done.
Yeah, sorry.
No, like was it Overly Sarcastic Productions? They got like a very like simplified sort of cartoony style that lets them get through like put a lot more into the style and presentation of the characters.
Yeah, just a very basic sort of pencil to paper looking thing.
Which is important when it comes to production. Like it's the same line of logic behind like. Behind when people see like new everything after like Gumball, basically they're like, oh, it's the Cal art style and it's all simplified, but like when you really look at it, you keep your main characters relatively simplified because they take up the most amount of time and there is a limitation to how complex you want your animation to look.
Right.
Like for perspective, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, which like definitely had like some really great animators on it. They still had to reject some of the more complex like costume designs simply because like moving the characters around was gonna involve too many textures moving. That's why they kept it to solid colors most of the time.
The one thing I think was cool about the Shyamalan Last Airbender movie was how the arrow was made of a bunch of these glowy shapes instead of just being one big blue arrow.
Oh yeah, I thought
that was a
I thought that was a good
choice.
Extrapolation from the tattoo itself, because in the and it made sense, because in the cartoon you could have a solid arrow that if you looked really closely would be a bunch of shapes. It's just not represented that way.
Yeah.
In the same way that, I don't know, if you look close enough, add like a certain like texture or whatever. I like the concept of it being like a bunch of little elaborate shapes that form a big arrow.
Yeah. That being said, hey Shyamalan, please don't try to make superhero movies anymore, or cartoon movies, or you know, anything like that. Just stick to horror.
It's fascinating seeing how like different media trends like inspire each other. Because like if you look at the show notes for Avatar: The Last Airbender. Their whole thing, they originally pitched it as like a coming-of-age story, and although it was sort of that, they focused primarily on the action-adventure because, at least according to Mike and Brian, the producers wanted something more action-adventure, something that would draw in the crowds that were watching Harry Potter at the time. I mean, even though that's a movie and this is a TV show, the thing is like, oh, we know this is a huge market, so give us something kid-friendly and like supernatural and make it cool.
Yeah.
It's really neat because like then you look at like how Avatar: The Last Airbender was its own like massive thing with like was it like 2 million viewers in total or something like that.
Avatar: The Last Airbender was like lightning in a bottle, man. Like everything just fit together so perfectly.
How'd you know it got this lightning in a bottle?
Just cuts to like Zuko. He's like, hey, I learned how to lightning bend.
Just put it in this bottle.
Puts it in a bottle.
Look, I invented a lightning valve so I can put it in the bottle and it doesn't get out. It still has a screw top on it, so, you know, be careful of that.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if I told you about that skit. There's a Key and Peele skit.
I don't think you did, but...
It's like, man, you had a good idea. You know, it's hard to get lightning in a bottle like that. Oh, I got lightning in a bottle. He reaches down, he's got like this mason jar that's just got this electricity flowing in it. It's like, what is that? What is that, man? It's lightning in a bottle. You know? It's just, you got a bottle, put some lightning in it. What? Why not just sell that, man? You can sell that to like the government for like $1 billion. Oh man, you're missing the point. He puts it back. Seriously though, that's like the goose that laid a golden egg. And he leans in, he's like, how'd you know about honkers?
Dude, in the
I'm gonna have to respectfully ask you to leave because you disrespected honkers.
Quick subject change. Speaking of golden gooses, this has nothing to do with anything, but in the Fables comic, there actually is, like, the golden goose from the Jack fairy tale. Bigby has it, like, in his office, and nobody knows about it, and it's basically how he pays for, like, all of the, off-the-book stuff. Usually things that have to do with, like, Cinderella missions, because Cinderella is, like, an off-the-book spy agent that works for Bigby.
You know, I'm imagining...
Later on Beast.
You know what's the funniest thing about that is that... Excuse me, what's the least suspicious way of pawning off a goose egg-sized amount of gold? Like, think about it for a moment.
You know, I don't think they ever went into it.
Because if it were me, I would cut the egg, like, say you have it vertically, like how it is in the egg, like in a container or on a Fabergé, that sort of thing. And I get some kind of industrial tool thing and cut it horizontally into basically a bunch of things that look like coins. Because at that point, it's at least some kind of, like, shape.
Yeah.
Because if it's just straight up like a solid egg, it's just too weird.
Yeah. Like,
Plus
where did you get this?
Yeah, plus, like, I don't know exactly how big a goose egg is, but even, like, a chicken egg made out of gold would be, like, a few pounds.
Well, I mean, Bigby would probably just have some, like, fable person that he does dealings with.
Oh, yeah.
About the egg stuff. Because, like, Bigby's whole thing, like, being a sheriff is, like, there's always off-the-book stuff going on. Like, nobody knows Cinderella's a spy agent. She pretends to be the owner of a shoe store called Glass Slipper.
And there's that lady...
she's never there because she's always off on missions, and the dude who runs the place is always like, man, I should just run the shop.
And don't even get me started on how many weird deals Rumpelstiltskin's got himself into. I feel like that would be his whole thing. Like, he'd just show up and be like, I can only grant people magical powers. I can't do them myself. But they involve, like, an elaborate, like, scheme of some kind. Except, like, it would be in modern day, so it'd be like, if you type out a page of, I don't know, the dictionary onto a piece of paper, it'll turn into a plate of platinum or something.
Right. Going back to Avatar, though, I will say this: Zuko is hands down my favorite character in Avatar.
I could not really pick a favorite. I feel like I have the holistic approach of just like the series a lot.
It's mostly his story arc that
he gets
that
like the full like
he gets the
shebang.
whole like sort of villain to hero redemption arc.
Yeah, and it was really like earned.
It was because like it wasn't just, hey guys, what's up? I'm a good guy. It was like, hey guys, can I be a good guy? And they're like, no. And then like every time he tried to prove he was a good guy, he'd wind up hurting someone, and he's like, why do I suck at this?
But like the important thing about it is that if you think about it, without Zuko becoming a good guy, you'd be missing like a fundamental part of what the show was trying to say.
What's that?
As in, like, one of the key things that the show sort of got around to, but not as like a central character thing, was the concept of redemption, of like trying to and vice versa. When it comes to a point where Zuko, when he's talking to Uncle Iroh, where he's like, let me guess that you want me to we're still family and I should probably go see if I can stop I can reason with Azula, and he's like, no, she's crazy, I need you to take her down.
She's crazy, take her down.
Like, I like that.
I like that
there's a sort of establishing like premise where it's like, no, this person's like you're like broadcast evil.
You have a level of sanity to you. You're aware of your actions and why they suck.
Separating from my thing. It's like, you're broadcast evil. Azula, she's like cable evil.
Oh. That's a good one. Yeah, but it was especially
Hold on, reference to the Harley comic. Check. Ooh, we almost got a bingo.
I know we're criminals, but are we war criminals?
No
one thinks they're a war criminal until whatever the fuck he said. It was a whole rant that I couldn't
That line made me very sad, because I was like, oh, Sai, you let me down. I wanted to... But it's so weird, because like I feel like Sai could be a lot more of a compelling character if he was like a guy who like thought he was the hero, realized he was the villain, and is now trying to be a hero again in like his like last like decade or so.
Yeah.
Like that would be like a really good arc, but like as far as the show goes, it's not that deep. Where Sai is just like. He's just a little. He's a little wonky. He's he fit really well into like the Archer universe, where he's like, yes, let me dispose of this body.
Dude, that'd be awesome, dude. Harley Quinn Archer crossover. I could see that. Anyway,
I'm trying to see the art styles mix. I'm trying to see Harley in the Archer art style, and it's kind of working.
Dude. Yeah. Back to Zuko though. It was especially difficult because like what made it like. So many shows have like an arc with a villain who's like, hey, can I be a good guy now? But Avatar is the only show where I've seen where like you saw the good in him and he became a trusted ally and then betrayed and then came back and realized he was a dick. Because like it was when he was stuck with Katara, and that was when he first started getting to see like the sort of better glimmers of a better person that existed in him. And he tried to be like friends with Katara, and that's why Katara had like such a hard time trusting him when he came back, because she was like, "I was the first person to trust you." And
yeah,
you
she was the first one to like extend the hand of.
Yeah, she was because she had already been like dicked over by him once, so she wasn't letting her guard down. Fraser.
Oh, that reminds me. This was a while back. I was on like TV Tropes, and I was just looking at Avatar: The Last Airbender, and someone had the most brilliant bit of fridge logic. Fridge logic is where something, except instead of in the sense that something doesn't make sense and then you finish the show and you go to your fridge and it does make sense, it's more like it was just something that was like, oh, that makes some kind of sense, and then you later realize, oh. And it was the scene where, May is hanging out with Zuko, and they have like some kind of like attendant. And she's like, oh yeah, can you get us like a honeyed tart, but it's got to have like flower petals on it. And then they walk off, and somebody noted it's like, it actually, she's like, it's like, she could have ordered a regular pastry, but she ordered an elaborate pastry, which would give her more time between the time that the attendant left and came back. And I was like, that does make sense.
Oh, wow.
I do love that there's moments where it's like stuff that makes there's kind of Shrekky moments where it's like, oh yeah, that's what Sokka and the Rose Petals was all about.
Oh yeah.
You didn't notice it, but your brain did.
Right. Oh man, I was just thinking about rewatching that earlier today. I was like out walking the dog, and I was like, I should watch Avatar again.
I should watch. What is it? I think it's Dragon Prince. Simply because I heard a bunch of the folks on Avatar, mainly the animators and stuff, went to it, and basically like a month ago, I had a dream that there was like a secret, like sequel to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I was like, was that a thing? And that was just a weird dream I had. But the truth was that they did the animators and writers and stuff still exist, and whenever they do something, I want to know about it.
Right. I mean, unless you count Legend of Korra as like a weird.
Yeah, you know what's the wildest thing?
I like Legend of Korra.
I had this weirdly specific memory about Dante Bosco's voice in a cartoon, and me making a bunch of Avatar: Last Airbender references, and it was like a Saturday morning. And so I looked up Dante Bosco on IMDb, and then scrolled through to the basically a few years after Avatar: The Last Airbender ended, and it was something called like Vivo 3, which was a thing on like Saturday mornings or something.
Right.
And it was so wild because it was like, yes, that was when I was a kid, but mentally I'm like, that was when I was a kid, but that was a handful of years after I saw it would have had to be after I saw Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
So basically it was a weird concept of that gap in time where Avatar was like still fresh in everyone's mind like 3 years after it came out.
Well, yeah.
It's got staying power. I think they. Imagine if we had. Oh man, I made myself sad. I was thinking, dude, if we had Avatar: Last Airbender like movies that were independent of the show, they were just really representative of the themes of the show,
right?
In like a movie form, that would be like the next Harry Potter.
Huh.
Heck, make some like books on that. Make some light novels, some mangas. Just connect it all together into some universe.
You know the one thing that really pissed me off about Avatar?
Wait, hold on.
Zuko's mom.
I think they explain it.
They explain it in a book.
In a book, and I haven't.
Explain it in a book that I haven't read.
Forgetting to look up.
I could probably find that on my comic book website. I should look for that. But
find it in the.
But like,
hold on. Me asking about an obscure comic person at the comic store. I don't think that's a thing. Me. Well, then the archives are. Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
No, but like, no, it's just Legend of Korra. Legend of Korra came in, and it was like, what happened to Zuko's mom? Oh, well, see, now that's a story. And then the stupid kid comes in, like, hi, my name's Ikki. Like, fuck off, Ikki. We're trying to get closure here.
That was a little weird.
So infuriating.
That's the weird thing, is that I don't want to be like overly nostalgic and stuff about Avatar: The Last Airbender. It was like solid, and there were plenty of parts that were like okay, but like the series itself goes yes, the divide. You can skip that one.
Yeah.
Which is funny because it was like I think we learned some basic lessons along the way, but yeah. But like the weirdest thing is how like even though they covered a lot of important ground and stuff, I feel like Korra missed something, you know?
Well, yeah, but that's
maybe it was too much about power creep.
Power creep?
Yeah, it's where you have like an escalation of powers. It's something that you worry about in, for instance, an excellent example is DBZ, where like every time if you keep setting up more powerful villains and then you overcome them, you just kind of have to keep escalating, that sort of thing. Well, if you look at that, but in something like, if you did something like that in like Harry Potter, it would go off the rails real quick, because you just have to be like, yes, I just deleted London, something like that. So with Korra, there was a feeling that there was a bit of power creep because because it was what is it? I don't know, 70. It was like it was somewhere around like 70 or something, several decades after the show that we watched, and how most of the characters were gone. Yeah. And only like their offspring around.
Suki. Yeah. I always found that weird.
But like the fact that like it's funny because in our minds we're like, oh well, like metal bending used to be such a mystical thing, and now it's like super common. But what's funny is that like on the opposite end of that, do you think that that's just realistic for the universe, that it would be really dumb if we had like main characters who were supposed to be like really good guys, who like develop some like really interesting, useful, like industry-changing technique and just don't share it?
Yeah, I mean that's why I never had a problem with that.
I think it was the difference between bending being a tool and bending being like some kind of like spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
Like I like the concept of like the spirits being grumpy because people figured out bending, but they didn't like see it as an art.
Yeah.
I would have had an episode where they show the spirits professional professional bending, and they're like, "Whoa, this is like a whole new thing. They're inventing new styles."
I would have liked to see more Heibai in the show, honestly, because like you never saw much of Heibai. He only showed up a few times.
The weasel guy?
No, he's the panda guy. The big panda guy. He's the panda when he's in the physical world.
Oh, okay. No, I was
he's
thinking
like
of
crazy
the
four-armed dude.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He was awesome.
Dude, I just realized something.
What?
I would totally... Okay, one thing. It was much more limited in scope. Most of the show was entirely within one city. And the city itself didn't get a whole bunch of, like, mapping and elaborate, like, stuff like that. And it should have. It should have a bunch of different settings that feel different.
Yeah.
I would have done a whole like world tour thing where half of it is at least half of it is completely new stuff, and like more of those earthbending trains and stuff, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And
half of it is stuff where, because it's been a long time, looks totally different and has a new feel to it. Well, like, for instance, there would, like, think about this for a moment. Huge swaths of land were burnt after that short little, taking over the world Phoenix plan. There were, and even before that, during the 100-Year War, there were, like, huge patches of land that were just, like, burnt to a crisp. After 70 years, they would be, like, back again, and only, like, the spirits would, and the oldest people would remember what it looked like.
Yeah, well, Legend of Korra wasn't as much of a, what's the word? It wasn't as much as of like a world adventure type thing as like
it was a different feel to
it. Original Legend of Korra was more like Avatar was like, okay, we're going to like build the world, and then Legend of Korra was like, all right, we've built the world. Now we manage it.
You know what would have been really great is you do a little bit of like city exploration, and then you just go hard into like the pulp concepts where it's like, yes, we just invented technology and having industry and stuff, and because of that, a bunch of us kind of like left a bunch of the countrysides behind, and there's a bunch of like cool monuments and stuff we left out there, and we're putting together like a history museum or something. Like,
that belongs to the museum.
That would be the ARC, a history museum that's trying to figure out the history of the airbenders.
Yeah,
because like there's like a big like, I don't know, collection of documents that were like hidden by Aang when he was like traveling the world, and people and like everyone forgot where it was, and so they're tracking it down. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like learning. The whole thing would be like Korra sort of learning airbending, like learning what it meant to be an airbender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Airbending is cool.
Also, we're playing Phoenix Wright.
Also, it's been 47 minutes and we've done nothing.
Nah, we did a little bit of something. Man, we got on a whole shebang.
That was like a whole discussion. Wow.
Bruh, it's Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's
great.
I
mean, it's great. Such a good show. So, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it's really hard to. I like that we got this little what's the word? The story of what is it? Wan, the first Avatar.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And I was just thinking, like, did everyone live on turtles?
Yeah, they all lived in a teacup that was being balanced on a turtle's shell because she cheated on her husband and got cursed.
And then they turned into a car.
That's a fairy tale. That was from Fables. That was one of the fairy tales that I didn't know existed.
Is he from a fairy tale? Probably one of those like Polish ones that are really racist.
Wait, what? Wow, what? That was the turd?
It's from the Harley Quinn show. Like,
yeah.
That guy with the electricity and the blonde ponytail. I don't think he's from a fairy tale. Maybe like a Polish one?
Oh, man.
So, hit the button.
Yeah.
Remember, you're in charge of the button. You can hit the button, like, anytime.
Bro, I am recovering from our Avatar discussion. Will you give me a minute? God!
See, I think my closing statement thing is that as much as I'd like going, yes, I'm gonna read the books and read the mangas and the extended universe and stuff. I guess what I really want is that, but animated.
Yeah,
like
that'd be nice to have.
Because
they could make like movies out of it.
There's something I really like about,
or like some 1 hour special type deal.
Yeah, I just like the concept there.
Yeah. So, you weren't looking at the lake at that time?
Nope. Just thinking about Avatar Last Airbender.
For the last 47 minutes, everyone in the corner has just been talking about Avatar The Last Airbender.
I watched like at least 2 episodes. It's 2 22-minute episodes. I looked over after I heard that noise.
She said on oh my god, Von Karma.
Not leisurely. I can't keep this.
Someone,
Not
please
leisurely chat with the witness.
get this man a glass of water. Irk. When I looked out the window, I saw two
gents in a boat.
Two gents in a boat. Thought it said giants for a minute. They might be giants. Wow.
2 giants in a boat. They're building a birdhouse for their souls.
Are those giants? Well, they might be. I know it's like talking about Kratos' wife from the.
Hold on.
Taylor's having a bit of a crisis here with his controller.
Sorry, I was putting away my drink in the fridge.
That was yeah, and then you dropped your controller.
And it was hanging by the cord.
Fuck, made me lose my train of thought. Oh yeah, it's
you were reading the line.
No, it's Kratos' wife from God of War 2016, who's apparently a giant, and it's like,
oh,
is she a giant? Well, she might be.
They might be giants.
They might be giants, because she looks very normal-sized for a giant. Could you clearly see the 2 men?
And they're like, well, giants aren't really giant, and then whenever you find another giant, it's a huge, like 500-foot tall giant.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it like a humongousaur thing? They changed size.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They just use their it's what's the word? It's like the anime technique where you suppress your power to be normal sized.
Oh yeah, like from Bleach where he was talking
Otherwise
about
we'd be swinging swords the size of skyscrapers.
You know, I like how they like mentioned that in one episode and then it's never referenced again. And then I think of like, what's his name? The former captain of Squad 3, the creepy dude that's always smiling. His Zanpakuto's power is basically to just like extend and retract rapidly. And then Ishin's like, yeah, that's just a normal Zanpakuto thing. And then it's like, I don't think it is.
What? Hold on. That's like, an interesting thing, because that means that that's not a special ability, that's a technique that technically anyone could learn.
Yeah, but with the former third squad captain, the one who went trader and giant eyes, Ishimaru. Gin Ishimaru. But his Zanpakuto was set up for that to be its actual power, like he would give the command and then it would do that. And its Bankai was just it doing that like more. Except also it created poison. It didn't like create a gas of poison, it would like stab you and then retract and it would leave like a sliver from itself and the person it stabbed and it would slowly poison them.
Ah, of course. That's
so
because,
it's like...
well, that's because it was made out of a bunch of uranium shards. And turns out uranium is very poisonous.
Yeah. I don't know, that line from Bleach just makes the whole thing really confusing. It's one of those things that it's better if you just forget that it was never said, otherwise it just breaks a lot of things.
You know, it still baffles me. It's still like, I find it so amusing that like Kenpachi Zaraki was definitely sort of a pirate. Like, no, his aesthetic was very piratey.
Yeah,
like, he didn't play, but he
pirate.
was like super tough. He didn't play by the rules. He had an eye patch, and his like traveling companion was always like sitting on his shoulder and stuff.
Yeah,
like a little parrot.
Yeah,
and I was like, that is super weird. And his name is Kenpachi, which sounds like Kenpachi the pirate.
Kenpachi, but
Kenpachi. Well, I always pronounce it as Kenpachi the pirate.
Yeah, he is very. Yeah. He gets a Bankai in the manga.
It never comes out. I don't think anyone goes like, yes, that guy's kind of like a pirate. Nobody says that.
Nobody ever does.
Yeah.
I never even thought that until you brought it up, and I was like, oh yeah. He gets a Bankai in the manga.
I thought it...
Well, the whole deal was that his sword was supposed to be like Ichigo's in the sense that it was constantly in its released state, but then that got kind of...
It was like, haha, I lied.
Yeah, that got kind of retconned away in the manga, in the final arc of the manga, which never got animated because... Well, I mean, Bleach just kind of stopped being good for a couple seasons by that point.
It turns out he just had to sharpen it like once. He just
Yeah, no, its Shikai form turns out is a giant hatchet, and its Bankai form, as it turns out, is a smaller hatchet, but Kenpachi is like a red demon now. So, there you go.
I'm imagining Kenpachi... how do we pronounce it again?
Kenpachi. Zaraki.
Kenpachi with a hatchet, and he's being followed by a whole bunch of juggalos.
Why juggalos?
Because it's the Hatchet Man of the Insane Clown Posse.
Oh my god!
I thought I thought those were the same brand.
But it gets weirder. As it turns out, his companion person that was always on his shoulder was his Zanpakuto the whole time.
Oh, what's her name?
Yachiru? The girl, the pink hair girl that's always on his shoulder? It turned out she was his Zanpakuto spirit.
It was me sword the whole time.
It was so weird! And it was one of those things that you kind of saw coming in like the final arc, but it was like...
It'd be like, it's her secret technique, and it's like, he pulls the sword, or pulls the parrot off his shoulder, and it just forms, it just morphs all Steven Universe style into a sword. My real weapon was my parrot.
But it was so weird, because like, it was one of those things that got hinted at in the final arc of the manga, and it was one of those things that when like she disappeared out of nowhere, it was like, is she gonna turn out to be his sword? But it's one of those things where like, is it gonna happen? And then you're like, it'd be kind of dumb if it did.
What's her name again?
Yachiru.
Yeah, Yachiru just pointing to self. Am I the sword?
Am I the sword?
Wait a minute.
It was kind of dumb. I didn't like that they did that, but like, I mean, I don't know.
What I'm saying is that Kenpachi would both fit into the One Piece universe because he's a pirate, and he'd fit into the Soul Eater universe because his friend is his weapon.
Damn, Kenpachi's just an amalgamation of animes.
Just slapping it all together.
I don't know. Yeah, find some way to make him a ninja, and we'll call him like the anime god. He's the living embodiment of anime.
That's specifically just specifically like shonen subtypes though.
Well, yeah, shonen subtypes.
All you gotta do, though, if you want to round it out, you gotta add like a little slice of life there, where on his off days he likes talking about the proper way to eat snacks.
I can
or
see
if
that.
he cuts the crust off or not.
I can see that. I bet he does.
So you fool, every day I cut the crust off of life.
I do not eat crust of life.
They see Kenpachi out there, they're like, he's really cutting the crust off today.
Oh, dude. Let's cut the crust off this game. Come cut the crust off this game with me, Taylor.
You fall off that sandwich, you pick yourself up, and dust yourself off, and you cut the crust off that sandwich.
Cut the crust off with me,
Vegeta. And Mark, and we got bingo.
Team 4-star, there we go. Let's see, what else do we have? We got anime, we got Team 4-star. We got Harley Quinn.
All right. Just look at the picture. Clear enough for you?
Uh-oh. Press further. Wait a second. I wasn't asking you about the photo. I was asking if you saw the two men.
Yeah, well, of course. The witnesses testified that she saw them. There's also a photo. There's a best look elsewhere for your precious contradiction.
Yvonne Karma, maybe learn to chew your food a little?
Eating a bunch of musket balls.
I like to imagine that as he's talking, like a giant steak just flies out of his mouth.
No!
He jumped in quick. He's hiding something. Ooh, he hiding something.
There was another bag. Wait, I'm pretty sure we caught. Yeah, we just did that one.
No, we presented evidence for it, but then we were wrong. Were you watching the very moment that she
were you in the room when it happened?
That, yes.
No one else was in the room.
The shot rang out.
Hold on, Hamilton reference. There we go. Let's just check there. You know what's funny? As much as I love like the first part of Hamilton, I feel like that's all the Hamilton I can handle. Because that's the funny thing about it is that it's like, oh wait a minute, they won the Revolutionary War. Spoilers. But yeah, you could just like there's so many other like songs and stuff in there, but like that's kind of it's like it's 1 hour and it's from the start to winning the Revolutionary War, and be like, you could just stop it there and be like, ah, yes, I will not do the final mission of Far Cry. There you go.
Well, it was supposed to be the story of Alexander Hamilton, not just the war, but
because like it gets more complex in the second act.
It's a
real
chunky
chunky
4-act play.
It's 4 acts.
4 act
3
play.
acts.
No, it's no.
I'm never gonna finish it.
It's like Days Gone. It's a big 4-act game.
Bro, I wish Hamilton was like Days Gone.
No, just in the sense that it goes on way longer than you would expect it to. Like, I seriously thought the game was gonna end with them being like, alright, I've accepted my wife's death, I'm gonna ride north with Boozer, we're moving on with life. But no, it was like, oh, by the way, your wife is alive, she's in the military now, and you're leaving this entire part of the map. This part of the map isn't even available to you, you're in the military now. Okay!
Yeah.
I almost thought it was gonna go all the way and actually have us get rid of the zombies.
Oh, yeah,
or
just,
cure them.
Yeah, he's like make some kind of like aerosolized vaccine thing.
Yeah. Man, that Colonel was nuts.
Please got a jingle jangle problem over here. Colonel's going nuts.
Play Days Gone if you haven't.
I gotta say how much. Yeah, you know what? I was gonna mention more Days Gone thing.
Yeah.
But then I was like,
Days Gone, check that off.
Check it out, double bingo. No, without spoiling anything, I was gonna say that like the important thing about sometimes the best you can do in a situation or in a video game is to give it like a big elaborate boss battle, and sometimes you have like a cinematic that establishes something more so important to like the characters that it's more important than like turning it into like a big elaborate brawl.
Right.
Although, you know, that game, because that game was a huge 4-act game, you did have multiple versions of that. You had like a cinematic where you fail, a combat situation where you win, like. You because there are multiple big bads in the game.
Yeah,
you literally have
there's
like
no like main antagonist. It's like a series of antagonists.
Well, yeah. So when you think about it,
I really thought Carlos was gonna be the end boss, but no.
It's which is interesting because like when, I was talking about it the other day, and I was like, wait a minute, Carlos was just Carlos was just the boss from Far Cry 3. Not like straight up, but as in your final encounter is the classic, like, you have like 7 guns or whatever, but then like as soon as the cinematic starts, you like drop your one gun and then you have to get into a knife fight while they blow dust at your face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that makes me so grumpy.
If you're one of those people that aren't playing Days Gone because critics are saying it's not great, ignore them.
Well, that's the funny thing is no one said it was bad. They all kept saying, well, sort of. They all kept saying stuff that just like didn't ring true with the game that I played.
Yeah.
My guess is that like perhaps if they played the game without gathering any of the documents, then they probably didn't get much of an idea of like what the zombie virus was, what it represented.
I think it also has something to do with the fact what the state it was in when it was first launched, because when you and I played it, it had been out for a while and the bugs were all worked out. But when it first came out, like I've actually seen footage of like crazy just game-breaking glitches that kind of make it not possible to play. So in that sense, I could see why people would get grumpy about it. But it got better. I got better.
Yeah, learning about the zombies in Days Gone is like learning about the ecological implications of the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. At first, you're like, "Oh, cool, dinosaurs," and you're like, "Wait, this changes everything."
Oh no, they're spoilers.
Look, we've tried to make all the zombies female, but they're laying eggs anyway. I told you not to mix zombies with Komodo dragons.
Well, that took dirt.
With that sort of technology, you could cure cancer. I don't want to cure cancer. I want to mix zombies with Komodo dragons.
Dude, speaking of weird zombie creatures, I was playing House of the Dead at round 1 with my buddy from work. And,
You're playing what?
I was playing House of the Dead with my buddy from work at round 1.
Alright.
When we were on lunch, and we basically fought a zombie vampire.
A zombie vampire?
And I was like, wouldn't a zombie vampire just be a vampire?
You know, I should ask some D&D friends about that, because usually you have a linear progression where there's, like, to become a vampire, or becoming a vampire involves the process of dying, which means that nothing that applies to a living character applies anymore. For instance, a vampire can get lycanthropy because they're already in a state of undeath. Whereas whereas usually the standard rule is that werewolves can't get vampirism simply because they're like, at that point they get immunity to a lot of other ailments.
Oh,
but, like,
that's why it never happened.
Yeah, it's supposed to be well, in the best, the like most clear-cut example being like in Skyrim, where if you're a vampire, you're immune to disease because you're undead, and if you become a lycanthrope, you just gain immunity to other diseases.
Right.
But with the zombie at that point, wouldn't it just be a zombie-like vampire? And
excuse
when
me.
you think about it,
I don't know, man.
Remind me to talk about the origins of vampires in, I think it was Transylvania, because someone had a really interesting historical note. I'll get back to that.
Yeah, but we gotta make some more progress in this game.
Yeah, well, sure.
You're asking meaningless questions. Meaningless. I will not even finish eating this steak. Contradictions.
Oh no, I already read this line.
I'm repeating myself. I'm caught in a time loop, but it's just all your fault.
I want to know the time loop. Trying to what end? Probably to some kind of prosecuting. There was an area that there weren't any contradictions in there.
Sorry, Nick.
Oh wait, I didn't press. I meant to press the last one. That's the only one I haven't pressed. Press this one. Are you sure about it?
Are you sure about
Are you sure about it?
You know what's kind of funny about John Cena tearing open the green screen?
What?
Is that he should have left it there, because at that moment you couldn't see him.
You're lying.
John Cena tests Slippy's invention. Shout out to was it Smash Bros. Melee players who got that reference?
I didn't.
Did you ever play Smash Bros. Melee?
Like once at your house?
Just a quick note. It had a bunch of like event battles that I thought added a lot of personality to the game. So like there was one where you were on the what is it, the city skyline from one of the Mother games, and you're fighting Donkey Kong and Bowser, who are like double supersized.
Right. So
it's like two like kaiju, and you're fighting them. That sort of thing. And one that was very, very difficult was called Slippy's Invention, where you were fighting a high-level Fox and Falco, except they were permanently cloaked, which made it very, very difficult.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so that's the whole thing of Slippy's Invention. Just it's just the effect of the cloaking device that was already in the game, but because it was permanent and it didn't like flicker and stuff, it just made things crazy.
Right.
Sure as a country gal can be. What country? That's up to you. Some kind of Southern Ireland.
Some kind of press for the hang on a minute. I'm gonna take a quick recession here, real quick. Taylor, do to entertain them.
Right. Let me see. What do I have here? Perhaps I can find something I'm using on the internet. No, that is a terrible idea because you cannot see what I'm doing. Oh, right. Let me tell you about the vampire thing. So, the other day I saw this post on Twitter about how there was there's a medical condition from, I think it was not enough iron or something. Basically, it was a dietary condition that would have been caused by a particular...
Chuck, what are we talking about?
There was a dietary condition, like not having enough iron or what have you, that was common in Transylvania. That the main effects were that you'd be really pale, really tired, and your gums would bleed.
Was Transylvania ever a real place?
It's a real place. I'm pretty sure it's still a real place.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds kind of mythical, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But no, it's just in Eastern Europe, I think. But the thing is, no, it's now part of Romania, I think. Right, but the thing is, because of, I don't know, I think it was like a lack of potatoes or a lack of a particular, like, there was some kind of like crop failure, that this ailment became a common thing, and to the average peasant, not knowing what kind of sickness was going around, it explains where the concept of vampire, one of the sort of inspirations for where vampires came from, because you have this mysterious ailment that made people like pale and bleed from the gums. So people got the idea, yes, they're feeding on blood. It's like, no, they're just really hungry, and they got bleeding gums because they don't got the nutrients.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that because it's also a dietary thing, you never meet someone with that condition that wasn't hungry, because they're not getting the proper diet. So you'd have this idea of, yes, they're out for blood.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're just hungry.
That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
How come you're so sure?
I wish I knew more about it, but I don't remember what the story was called. Well, heck, I scanned the whole lake.
Scan the whole lake? Scan the whole lake? Almost sounds like she was more interested in the lake than the boat.
See, this is going back to my thing of, I think she was trying to get a picture of Gordy.
I think she was too.
Because one thing that isn't even in the court record, but is like, I think something we read at the start of this, was that like Gordy might make some kind of noise.
Yeah, something.
Not even...
Gordy article.
Oh, yeah.
Gordy article. Miss Hart, you...
Maybe it is part of it.
Mr. Wright.
What?
The witness had answered the questions in full. No need for further questions. Objection sustained.
That's what I'm...
Sustained.
Yes, of course.
Objection denied. I have the gavel, lawyer man.
Seriously? Oh, great.
Don't tell me how to do my job. Enough! Think we've heard all we need to hear, Mr. Wright. It seems that you're unable to find a contradiction in the testimony worth noting.
It seems like you're unable to assert any of your authority. Now, Von Karma, I'm...
Hold on, we need to... What if we regenerate your lawyer energy? Sensibine!
Hey, Sensibine! No, it's like, Von Karma, I'm respecting your ability as a lawyer to let you make a call, but asserting my authority as
the judge by denying it anyway.
By denying it anyway.
Respecting your authority as... What is it? I'm respecting your ability as a lawyer by... observing your...
I'm respecting your ability as a lawyer to make your own testimony.
To make your own objection, but asserting my authority as your judge by overruling it anyway.
And there's fairly godparents. Check.
Check.
Triple bingo.
We got triple bingo now.
You're a lion.
Oh. No, I just read that.
Oh, you did. But, Your Honor...
You keep your promise.
Oh, how he snaps. Ding!
Mr. Wright, I'm afraid that I will have to penalize any further outbursts. I will throw a Slim Jim at you from across the aisles.
Slip into it, now!
I'm going to snap you across with a Slim Jim.
Slip into the Slim Jim.
It's just what it rolled off the tongue. I was like, what's something noodly that I could throw that would be amusing? It was either that or licorice, and I don't know. It just felt like licorice was too much of a reward to get.
Yeah.
Frozen licorice.
Black licorice? Oh no!
By holding you in contempt of court.
Hold you in contempt of this black licorice!
Okay, so here's the thing though, like, Is there just like a... What happens if we're held in contempt of court? Can the trial just keep going?
I don't know.
Do they have
just
a backup...
Read your line and find out.
Backup lawyer? I don't get it.
Read your line and find
And
out.
if that happens, you'll have to leave the courtroom immediately.
Oh, yeah?
Understood.
We'll see about that.
I made him extra mumbly so you can tell the difference. Nick. Lotta's testimony is fishy, Nick. Real fishy.
I know what you mean.
It's Gordy,
I know what
Nick.
you mean.
It's real Gordy.
But it's Gordy, Nick. More Gordy means more photos.
If only Larry was out there that night.
If I can't... Larry was out there. Why don't we have him to question? Because, like, he heard the gunshots, too. So, shouldn't he be called?
I don't think he was there that night.
Oh. Well, how would he have heard the gunshots? Did he hear the gunshots?
I don't know.
I thought he said he did. Because he wasn't with his girlfriend on Christmas Eve like he should have been. Because she was off doing something else.
I don't know.
Larry keeps getting used by people.
The hot dog industry.
I feel bad for him.
I have this ideal version of Larry where like he just starts. He's like Todd from BoJack Horseman, where he just like starts stumbling into an executive position.
Yeah.
It's like I don't even know how this happened. They just started accepting all my ideas.
If I can't say anything, what can I do? What can I do?
I believe we'd covered the evidence. Excuse me. Sufficiently to make a decision.
I believe I can fly.
Then pass your judgment.
I believe I can judge.
Very well. Mr. Miles Edgeworth, please take the stand.
Hold it!
Who was that?
It was me.
Sorry.
Maya!
Is something wrong? Do you need to use the facilities?
The fuck kind of...
No?
What are you,
I do
Dante
not.
from Devil May Cry?
Stop, you're ruining my moment.
Sorry. Devil May Cry.
I'm waiting for you to hit the button. I said the lie. Lot of heart.
I was mentally
Just
checking
give
off...
me the...
Bro, will you let me speak? I was mentally checking off Devil May Cry.
Not on our usual bingo, but probably on our bonus bingo card. Your testimony stinks. It's unclear whether you were actually looking at the lake. It's highly doubtful that you actually saw Mr. Edgeworth. Tell us the truth. This is a matter of life or death. Wow. Lotta! Lotta! Did you really clearly see Mr. Edgeworth that night?
Archer truck?
Did you see him fire that pistol?
You would stand down. The court does not acknowledge the defense's outburst.
Answer me, Lotta. What's the big idea? Treat me like some kind of criminal. I saw him, I swear. I saw Edgeworth.
Enough. Judge. That is French in contempt of court. Yes, of course. I'm sorry, but you were warned. God, escort Mr. Wright out of the court.
And it's just it's just Maya, and she's like, okay, now I can focus. Charging up to Mia steps.
He is in contempt of court, and he must leave.
No.
No.
No. No, Charlie.
Wait, that's not how it happened.
Wait. Does the whole rewind thing? Big fake out.
I was the one who made the outburst, Your Honor. Nick is innocent, or as we say in the court biz, not guilty.
What is the difference?
Well,
I've been slowly melting into a pile of meatballs. I'm not owned, he says, as he shrinks into a corn cob.
I'm just a pile of steak balls now.
All that remains is for the guilty verdict to be declared. Isn't that right, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
Wrong! Wrong! So wrong.
What?
You heard me, I said wrong. Did you hear what Miss Hart just said? She said she clearly saw Mr. Edgeworth. That was not in the testimony. That changes her testimony, and I have a right to cross-examine her again.
Order, as usual, order and all that stuff.
Order,
seriously,
order,
come on.
Etc., etc.
For contempt of court, it's too late for wild claims. Judge, sustain my objection.
Oh.
I'm sorry, Mr. Von Karma, but I cannot.
Ah! Look who finally grew a spine!
I've just entered the, Mesozoic era, whatever.
I do not get that reference.
The carbon, it's some kind of, whatever era when, the first spined creatures formed. I probably got it wrong, though. Someone in the comments, please. Hold on, do we have any, comments on there?
No commenters tonight.
They'd be able to tell me what era the first, core dates came in.
Yeah,
What?
What's this? Judge is evolving.
Arc Judge. Hi, Judge.
Supreme Judge. Supreme Court Justice.
He's got the modifiers from like spells in video games, so he's now like Majudgio. That means he's more powerful and can attack multiple targets.
Judge Bizarre Adventure.
J. Jonah Judges.
And his stance is just a giant gavel that hits people.
Oh, your stand has to be his stand. His stand is just another judge.
His stand is just another judge that hits people with his giant hammer.
Yeah, except it's like a double. It's like a staff with a hammer on each end.
Oh yeah, dude, I
can
see that.
Kind of like a ogre or like an orc or something.
And he's like, his catchphrase is like, "I shall judge you" or something like that.
Yeah, and his stand is called like Justice for All or something.
Yeah. Dude, I think we just created a JoJo OC.
Alright, let me just check that up.
Bonus
Miss Hart has made a new testimony. The defense does have a right to cross-examine her again. For use of contempt of court. No, I am. If you're going to arrest someone, arrest me. That's how it works.
Duh.
Although, according to monk law, they have to fight me. Or what is it? By the rules of Outer Realm, I have the right to a trial by combat.
I have yet to play Outer Realm or Outer Worlds.
Not Outer Worlds.
Outer Realm.
It's not a game, as in the trial by combat, which is recognized by Kotal Khan.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is a fun little cop-out if you happen to be... I mean, the funniest thing about Trial by Combat is that, like, when your leader is just, like, one of the best fighters, then, like, that system works. But, like, if there's just, like, one person who can sort of beat you, then it becomes, like, a whole, like, legal mess where it's like, yes, you know what, I'm gonna Trial by Combat, and then we're gonna get into a big fight. Oh, not this again.
Yeah, there was a lot of Trial by Combat stuff in Game of Thrones. I got unplugged there for a minute. But one of my favorite moments in Game of Thrones is with Bronn when he steps in to fight for Tyranny in a Trial by Combat. And they're like in this big castle that's like way up high, so there's like a hole in the floor that they open up to like throw people down. Mm-hmm. But the Bronn, the guy who's fighting for Tyrion, ends up knocking the guy that he was fighting out of the palace. And the queen lady person was like, "You cheated! You fought without you have no honor," or something like that. And Bronn just kind of looks at her and then looks at the hole in the floor and is like, "Nah!" Looks at the hole in the floor. He did, and then just walks away. It's like, wow.
Who put that hole there?
You are now my favorite character.
Very well. Maya Fey. Get out of here!
Yeah.
You will leave the courtroom immediately. Nick, I did what I could. You have to do the rest. Good luck.
Maya, I take back every horrible thing I ever said
about
you.
Hold on. She comes back into court as Mia. Okay, so first I learned how to channel Mia. Also, I count as a legally distinct entity, so I may resume.
That'd be awesome. Maya. Maya saved the day.
I care not for this melodrama.
Shut the fuck up, Karma.
I cannot. There is still more, yet more in my text box.
Shut, Manfred.
Listen well, Mr. Wright. I'm gonna open this door. I should not be sweating when it's like freezing outside.
Yeah, sure. Not like all the way though, because it's cold out there, and I don't want to be cold.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why your house needs to be this warm.
Because my grandma's cold
right
all the time.
I forgot that. That's how grandmas be, you know.
That's how grandmas be. They're always cold.
They're They're endothermic or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's because
they're exothermic.
Yeah. Oh wait, did you read that line?
Listen well, Mr. Wright. I do not tolerate badgering of my witnesses.
Manfred.
Nor do I tolerate wolverining or wombating.
Manfred, more like Mancubus, because much like the Mancubus in Doom, you are like one of the most irritating parts of this game. Ha! Actually, I think Pinky is probably the most irritating.
I forgot that his first
demon
name was Manfred. I thought you were just calling him Manfred for some reason.
Oh yeah, no, because I'm pretty.
Oh, why call you Manfred? Manfred, it's just
Manfred. Here's a little Karibo. Check that off. Shout out to Little Karibo.
No, that wasn't Little Karibo though. That was
Lanny Pator.
That's
Lanny Pator. Little Karibo was Yu-Gi-Oh abridged up. How did I mix it up?
Your cat's looking out the screen door.
Now we gotta do a little Karibo reference. My hair gives me the power to defy gravity. So there you go.
I think my voice gives me super strength.
Well, my hair gives me the power to defy gravity. Humanity.
So you're just some kind of clown spirit thing? Let's just not overthink it.
I'm running out of time. I better find a contradiction in here or else.
Mr. Wright, begin your cross-examination.
Whatever happened to Lanny Pator?
I'm pretty sure he's still part of Team 4-Star.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was a Team 4-Star.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that's where you knew him from.
No, I know him from Yu Yu Hakusho.
You know what was the weirdest thing? I remember in his old episodes he had like links to his website, and he had his own website that was like lannypator.com or something.
Mm-hmm.
And his most recent stuff was like months back, and I watched. He had like a nearly complete playthrough of a horror game for the Xbox Kinect.
Really?
Yeah, you had to like wiggle around and stuff to make it work. It was kind of awkward.
Yeah.
It was called like Rise of Nightmares, and it wasn't good at all, but it was interesting to see him play it. And like, he's like stopped probably because he was just really tired of it.
Probably.
But I was thinking about that and how like that was like it felt like it was a time capsule from an earlier day, because that's back when YouTube was so like new that you could just set up your own website and host stuff from there.
Yeah.
Because it's not like everything was funneled into YouTube.
Yeah. The last statement. You gotta read this.
Oh, that's what we could do. If you wanted to set up a website and have people like watch your stuff there, you'd have to have like bonus content that you could get exclusively there. You'd have like a little point system or something.
Yeah.
Get something like get a little doodads and stuff that you can get along the way.
You can just sell a bunch of merchandise.
I mean, you could also sell your merchandise there, but what's important is that like when they're watching your video, they're spending it on your site instead of having to go through YouTube.
I think we need to get at least some sort of a cult following before we can even think about the idea of bonus contents on our own website.
I'm wondering, it's like, I'm just thinking, what would we put on a shirt, but I don't know. What do you think to put on a shirt?
We'll just be People Orange shirts.
But like, the thing is, you'd want to...
Oh no, you know what we could do for a shirt? We could make a shirt. Hang on. We can make a shirt that has like a giant bingo card on it, and it's like one of our customized bingo cards.
You know, I thought of that, but I don't know if you could get enough detail onto the squares.
Well, what if we made like several different bingo cards that could each fit on a shirt? And we just had like different shirts with different bingo cards.
Maybe. And there's another cat looking out the screen door.
That's Angel. You're not going out there. It's cold and dark. You gotta read the testimony.
It's like super cold out there. I saw it as clear as day. The man on the boat was Mr. Edgeworth.
That's it? Uh-oh, I don't know if I can find anything in that. But I can't squander my efforts here, if it's either. As clear as day, that's it. What if I show you the picture? Ha, you know, it would work.
Gotcha.
Got you! Got you, Miss Hart! Finally, I got you, you son of a monkey!
You got what?
I got you. In a lie. Look at this photograph!
Hey. the photo I took?
Yeah, the one that won't make you laugh. The very same. There's something I want you to see in this photo. It's quite clearly visible. The fog, Miss Hart.
So?
Oh, that's you. This picture was taken with professional high-quality film, correct? Yet even it could not capture the faces of the men on the men on the boat. Yet you claim you saw Mr. Edgeworth. How?
What? That face. Wow. Mr. Wright has a point. That's why I told her not to say that in her testimony. Please. Oh, bro. I feel like that should get you out of court right
Yeah,
there.
like seriously, that's illegal. That's not how the law works. Yet now
there's certain like advice you could give someone to testify, but like if you just outright say, "Ah, yes, I told her to glaze over something that was clearly fundamental to the testimony."
Yeah, seriously.
Like, bruh.
Yet now she has said it, Mr. Von Karma. How could you possibly see Mr. Edgeworth? Explain yourself.
I got my macro binoculars. They help me see the Jawas in the distance.
Jawas.
Miss Hart, there is a cat between me and the dialogue box. Hold on. What? Could you see the defendant that night? Of course. I said I could see. I said I could, and I meant I could. Then please testify to the circumstances of your sighting.
I did it! I finally found a hole in Von Karma's carefully vague testimony.
We're kind of like sweating over here, and it's... Oh. Okay.
Hello.
Okay, I'm gonna use your foot for a minute.
Okay.
Crap. Throw cat treats at him.
No!
But Grab was trying to get through the room. Just stepping over Taylor's massive backpack.
Oh, yeah, I should have just scooted that over.
Taylor,
Sorry.
being the gentleman he is helping her over, so that's cool. I have not seen Bo. My grandma's giving treats to the cats. How Edgeworth was seen.
You're right. It was a cold night, and the fog was as thick as grits.
I have a second stomach for grits.
So, once I was finished setting up my camera, I got back in the car. Still, brought my binoculars with me. When I heard that noise out on the lake, I looked with my binoculars. See? No problem.
Uh-huh. Bullshit.
You used binoculars. Very well. We can begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
This one had better be good. How Edgeworth was seen.
No, I don't read the green text.
You do when you read them the first time.
Yeah, I read them the first...
Yeah, this is the first time this one has been said, didn't it?
No, it was thick as grits.
No. Oh, no, you're right.
It's green.
Yeah, you're right. I'm just incredibly stupid and incompetent. I apologize. I apologize twice, one for each year that...
I apologize for sending my color deficient friend to the paint store to pick up some paint.
I apologize for putting this red balloon in the stupid David Cage game. I'm still not over that.
Look, we're just looking for a balloon. Look for a floating round thing. It's there. It's a floating round thing.
There's a flying round thing in my dream. That's not a dream. That would
never be a dream.
World Doctors, check.
Double check, actually.
Oh, right. Double check.
We've got a lawyer that can see through sand.
We got a lawyer that can see through bullshit. Oh, dude, that's like literally the best thing for a lawyer to have.
We're good lawyers. I love our job. We thought we were going to exonerate Mr. Edgeworth, but instead we just brought this artifact to some random hipster from Vancouver.
Shoot him!
Just the way that escalated.
Feel better?
Oh man, I want to make
gone.
If I had editing skills, I'd combine that and it would just be what is it? How new players are in GTA Online. It's random hipster from Vancouver. Kick him. Shoot him. Just out of nowhere.
Just out of nowhere. Feel better? Goes to Trevor Phillips. My headache's gone.
We have this amazing artifact of headache curing and... What was it? I think it was just headache curing and hair growing?
Yeah, and then hair like grew out their eyes.
We don't talk about that.
Oh, it's so gross. When it does like that like with the beat music where it's like zooming around the hair.
Yep.
L'Oreal or whatever.
Something.
Something. Insert hair.
This is your line.
Here.
Read.
Well, you got me distracted by eye hair.
Look, when it's my line, I have to like pull away from the dialogue and do the line.
Well,
when it's your line, you gotta do it.
Yeah. So shut up and let me.
You gotta stop being around the artifact of your hair growing and headache curing.
Yeah. Well, I got a headache. I need the headache cure. So, how could you see Edgeworth?
Now just hold your horses for a second.
I don't have any horses.
You hasty Yankee types never find a gal where I'm from.
So we're in New Japan, York?
New Japan,
I'm very
York.
confused on where this game is supposed to take place.
I'm gonna say Shibuya, because it's a fun district to say. Shibuya!
Shibuya!
District attorneys have trouble with that as it is.
The district that's hard to testifying Shibuya, but you can't win. Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to do like a parody of the Shibuya song from Family Guy.
I thought you were doing like a sea shanty, and I was kind of, I was waiting for the hook.
Shibuya. Nobody loves me.
Going to Shibuya. Which is funny because, as far as I think, I don't know. It's just, I don't remember if Shibuya. I think Shibuya is an actual district, and I don't know if it's landlocked compared to the other districts. Because if it was, then it would be like, it'd be kind of like, we're going to Kansas on our boat, yi-ho.
I don't know. The one Japanese district I know by name is Shinjuku, and that's because it's in like every Japan anime that takes place in like actual Tokyo or whatever.
Like with the
as opposed to like Bleach and Dragon Ball, which all take place in like made-up cities.
Don't forget One Punch Man that just has alphabetic cities.
Oh, and then there's Mob Psycho 100, whose cities are all named after spices.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Does that mean that they took inspiration from like Pokemon, where all the cities in a region have like a naming theme to them? Because like in Kanto, Pallet Town is the only one with like a non-color name, but it's, you know, Pallet. But all the other ones have like distinct colors.
I don't know. All I know is Mob Psycho 100 and One Punch Man are made by the same dude.
Really?
Yeah, one. His pen name is just one. They both deal with like the concept of having unlimited power, but like in different ways. So they're both pretty good.
I was just about... I'm one pun man. I tell a pun and it's so bad that they explode.
It sounds like a power you'd see in Bobobo. I have the pun power.
I ate the pun fruit.
The pun fruit. Now my puns make heads explode. What?
I don't know. I don't know what devil fruit you ate, but it's gotta be the worst.
And his name is just Punsy the Clown.
Oh no. He's got some kind of Ponzi scheme.
Your camera.
Yeah, it's got an automatic. What is that voice?
I don't know.
The issue we are controlling with here is Miss Hot seeing Mr. Odgeleth.
He sounds like he was supposed to be in a Castlevania game, but wound up wandering off and got lost in this one.
He did just wander off. He's got a name like Von Karma.
Hey, I was looking for some vampire dude.
Look,
I don't know how I got here.
He's got a Von in his name. He's got the Victorian style to him. He's probably like 300 years old.
I'm supposed to be in a boss fight with Simon Belmont right now. How did I get here?
In the wrong game. Wait a minute. Is Castlevania a Capcom game?
I think it is. I'm not 100% sure.
Those in the comments, let us know.
Yeah.
Unless, but be sure to like scroll down, because if we actually got like popular, there's probably like 5 people who had already said yes or no. So
yeah.
Just check that out first.
If we ever get that popular, that'll be awesome. Oh, that's your line.
The camera had nothing to do with this at all. Objection sustained.
Arg! He's not letting her answer any of my questions.
Give me just...
Oh, what is that face? She's just got like, really big teeth. Weird beaver teeth.
Good for cutting down trees.
They're good for
I
building.
got to the park.
Yeah, I use them to build dams. Binoculars? Binoculars?
Yeah, binoculars.
Yesterday you mentioned that you were out looking for shooting stars, correct?
I wonder if beaver meat is tasty.
I don't know, but I'd be interested in trying it. You know what I've never had? Rabbit.
I know nothing about that. But I say it because, like, my thought was, oh, well, like, beavers were, like, extensively poached in, like, the early, like, colonial days. But part of me is thinking, maybe they were tasty and had good fur. But part of me thinks, well, maybe it was just because, like, beavers are really easy to fight. Like, they're not as fast as rabbits. And their main thing is that they're good at swimming, but if you catch them on land, they're not very good at like fighting.
Yeah.
So compared to like I don't know, like finding a wolf or a deer or something.
Right.
Which is why when I played Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed 3, I was like, oh wow, I'm getting this whole industry running on beaver pelts, and I was like, this is how the beavers died. What am I doing with my life?
Welp.
I feel like. Do you think that's just part of the game? It's like, yes, you're playing Assassin's Creed, and you're like, yes, I got all the funding from my Brotherhood, and this is how most of the bison went extinct. You're just
terrifying real world consequences.
And that is why I only hunted like one bison in Red Dead 2.
Your line.
Well, yeah.
Look how big his hands are. Like before the dialogue shows up.
It's a perspective thing, but maybe he does have giant hands.
He's got, because his hands are giant on the title card too.
Yeah, it's the thing.
He's got giant hands.
Which implies that the camera that they're using to look at him is a different one they use on the other, on like the judge. Like his camera is a closer, wider lens.
Right. Look I have the biggest hands. I am a world champion at boxing.
It's just Phoenix. It's just that video of that guy like looking at his hands with like the dreamy music playing, except it's just Phoenix Wright photoshopped onto his face.
Oh, dude, I got a universe mashup. Phoenix Wright and Punch Out. Phoenix Wright takes on Little Mac and Punch Out. He has such big hands.
I'm not feeling
it. Great for boxing.
I'm just thinking about what if Lil Mac had like, I don't know, like like alien hands, or like if he had like polydactyly, or the opposite of that, like if he had less fingers, you never know, you know?
Huh.
Because he's always got the gloves on.
Yeah. Wouldn't you need a telescope, not binoculars, for that? I've got doubts about your camera, too. Is that really to take pictures of meteor showers?
The camera's irrelevant to the case.
Shut up, Von Karma. Go back to Castlevania.
Go back to this, whatever Castlevanias you come from.
You can't say that for certain.
Mr. Wright, what is a man?
What has he got, if not himself?
Okay, I was going Castlevania, but you slipped into Sinatra, and I'm pretty okay with that.
I've never actually played Castlevania, so...
It's a thing that, like, Dracula says. He's like, what is a man? A miserable pile of lies, or something. And he throws the wine.
Oh, yeah.
And I saw the edit of that where he flips a bottle of water.
That sounds awesome.
I love edits of that, like, just seeing, like, what is a man? A miserable pile of lies. And then he, like, takes a huge swig from, like, a tiny pixelated Monster Energy. And they added it so it's got little, like, chip sound of when it lands. I'm just imagining that. I haven't seen that, but I imagine something like that exists.
Is the camera really relevant to this case? If you believe it is, may continue with this line of questioning. But know this, if you find nothing with this, there will be consequences. Well, Mr. Wright, you wish to press further about the camera?
Hell yeah, I'll press further. This is make it or break it time.
Hey, Jackie boy.
The camera is of utmost importance, Your Honor. It is perhaps the key to this entire case. Therefore, I will continue my line of questioning. Look how giant my hand is.
I'm talking to the dog, and he's saying hello.
Hello, doggo.
He's a little sleepy.
He's losing his hearing. No, great. He doesn't hear as good as he used to.
He's an old boy.
He's an old boy. He's a good boy, though. He knows his walks. Every time every time I pick up the leash, he like gets all excited and starts running around all crazy like he's a puppy again. He's like, oh, what the? Wow, maybe I went a little overboard there.
Very well. Miss Hart, you testify to the court about the camera.
Yeah, I hear you. Camera was set up to take pictures of a meteor shower. I heard that noise out in the lake. I looked with my binoculars.
I don't know why, but the way you voiced her just now for some reason made me think of like how Nicolas Cage would talk if he were here. It's like, yeah, I brought my camera. I was using it to take pictures of meteor showers.
I'm trying to think. How do I do? I lost my touch with how to do a Nicolas Cage voice.
Well, like, what kind of Nicolas Cage,
Good point.
Are you going for, like, the 90s Nicolas Cage, or are you going for, like, the crazy, bug-eyed Nicolas Cage?
I'm thinking of a guy who's trying to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, like, are we talking about, like, Ghost Rider Nick Cage, or, like, what was it, the Sorcerer's Apprentice Nick Cage?
Dude, I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's, like...
And it was such a fun premise, too.
He's, like, so checked out of that movie. Like, the whole movie is just like, I'm Nicolas Cage.
How did I blank on that? That was, like... It wasn't, like, an amazing, like, movie or whatever. But, like, it had some really fun, like, effects, and I really liked the premise that just, like, anything goes of just, like, flinging magic around. Like, I really like the concept, and they had, like, some level of budget to do it with.
Dude, if I ever got to meet Nick Cage, I would have a glass of jelly beans with him. That's what I would do. I would have a glass of jelly beans. Would you have a drink with
Nick Cage? Yes, a whole martini glass of jelly beans.
And watch skeleton cartoons with him. And that is what we would do.
No, we'd watch old YouTube videos of monkeys doing karate.
Yeah.
Sorry, chimpanzee doing karate.
Yes, that. I don't care how many von Karmic objections I get. I'm good. That's solid wording, Von Karmic. I'm going to find a hole in this testimony if it's the last thing I do. And we'll do that next time, because we've been streaming for like almost 2 hours.
So, thank you so much for joining us this lovely evening. I've been Taylor.
I've been Lujek.
So, remember to take care.
Stay awesome.
Have a beautiful day.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.